So to begin with polynomials, introduction to polynomials, today we're going to classify polynomials and write polynomials in standard form. We are also today going to evaluate, do the math with polynomial expressions. Introduction to polynomials. The prefix poly means something. The prefix poly means something. Corbin, what's it mean? Many. So we're going to be dealing with something that has a lot of pieces. To begin with, let's talk about a monomial. Monomial is not a polynomial because a monomial has the prefix mono, which is 1. So a monomial could be a number. It could be a variable. Or it could be the product of number and variable, sometimes more than one variable, sometimes 4xy. So I'm going to give you a list, and I want you to tell me if it meets these requirements. So there are 6 terms, right? Singular groupings. Let's circle anything that's a monomial, meaning it's just a number, it's just a variable, or it's the product of a number and a variable. So is 5 a monomial? Yes, it's a number. Is 6 a monomial? Yes, it's a variable. Is negative 16xy a monomial? So I hear half and half. Let's see. Is it a product, meaning what? Multiplying. Is it multiplying numbers and variables? Yeah, negative 16 times x times y. What about x squared? Is it multiplying something? What's it multiplying? 2 variables. So variable parentheses s. That works. How about 2 divided by x to the third? What is this problem doing? Dividing. What about t to the negative 4th? What did we just learn about that? How could you rewrite t to the negative 4th, Angelina? 1 over t to the power of 4. And is that a monomial, or is it multiplying? What's this doing? Dividing, so it's not going to work either. How about 4x minus y? Is there a number? Is there a variable? Is there multiplication? But there's something extra, isn't there? What's extra? The minus, the subtraction. So no, this one doesn't work either. Do you understand how to identify a monomial? It is one term that only has a number or a variable or has multiplication of a number and variable. Everything else, this right here would be a polynomial because there are two. The first monomial is 4x. The second is negative y. This is a polynomial. A monomial is a standalone. So classification. Classification of polynomials. There are two types of classification we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the term and the degree. So let's start with degrees. To classify a polynomial, so tonight on your homework, you are going to be asked to find the classification of degree. And the degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents. In a monomial, you add up the exponents. So here's an example. Negative 2a squared b to the 4th, 4, and 8y. Those are three monomials. Negative 2a squared b to the 4th, 4, and 8y. Those are three different monomials. A degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents. So if I look, if we look at this, this is a special rule. A constant has a degree of 0. We only count our exponents with our variable. So here there's no exponent or there's no variable, so a constant has a degree of 0. Down here, Sam, what would it be? Are you the one that said that? Who said? Oh, Angelina, what's the answer down here? 1. So remember, if it's a constant, just a number, it has a degree of 0. If it has variables, that's where we add up or place in our 1. In a polynomial, the degree is the largest exponent. Here's a chart. If the largest exponent is 0, or is a constant, there is no exponent, 0. If the largest exponent is a 1, we call that linear. So looking at those examples up here, this would be a constant, and this would be linear. If the largest exponent is a 2, we call it quadratic. If the largest exponent is a 3, it's called cubic. 4 is called quartic. 5 is quintic. And then after 6, we give up. We say it's a 6th degree. Say 6 plus. If it's a 7th, it's called a 7th degree. If it's an 8, we call it an 8th degree. Most of what we're going to deal with lies in this section. Linear, quadratic, cubic. The second type of classification that we focus on with polynomials is by term. A polynomial by term is just how many pieces are in the polynomial. So can I give you an example? 3 minus x plus 6x to the 7th plus 9x squared. How many terms, how many pieces are in this math problem? Angelina, what's the first term? 3. Well, yes, they're included. Meaning the next term is negative 1x. What's the third term? 6x to the 7th. And what's the last term? 9x squared. Now I'm going to tell you, if you wrote this down on your homework, you'd get it wrong. Because it is not in standard form. Standard form is when you order the exponents greatest to least. Biggest exponent to smallest exponent. So it's a good thing that I wrote this down and circled them individually, because that makes it easier for me to pull them out and create a new order. Which one of these 4 items, which one would go first, Valencia? 6x to the 7th would go first. Good. And after 6x to the 7th, I have 3 terms to choose from, going from greatest to least. Parker, which one would go next? I'd put positive 9x squared. Good. Corbin, what comes next? Not 3. Good. Minus 1x. And then how am I going to put that 3 on it? Addition, because it's a positive 3. Now it's in standard form. Now you could write this down. Ladies and gentlemen, what degree is this? What degree? What would you call it from this table right here? What degree, Keegan? What's your largest exponent? Exponent, not coefficient. 7th degree. This is a 7th degree polynomial. So let's talk terms. If it has 1 term, it's called a monomial. If it was just 3, we'd call that a monomial. If it has 2 terms, it's called a binomial. Negative 1x plus 3 is a binomial. What if it has 3 terms? What do you think it's called? What's the prefix for 3? Trinomial. 9x squared minus 1x plus 3 would be a trinomial. And 4 or more, they give us a break, is a polynomial. So tonight on your homework, you will need to be able to take something and put it in standard form. Seem easy? You just put them in order, greatest to least. On your homework tonight, you will then have to identify the degree and the term. So here would be an example of a homework problem tonight. First, put it in standard form. Next, classify it, degree and term. So if you want to try it on your own, you start. I will give you a 30-second head start, and then I will put the answer up. Your homework tonight is going to ask you to put it in standard form, rearrange it. Then it's going to ask you to find the degree and the term. I like to write it down, then circle everything. And I look, that's an exponent of 1, 3, 0, 2. So I start out with negative 4x to the 3rd. Do you agree? That's my greatest exponent is 3. Then I'm going to go to minus x squared. How do I put 20x? Because it's positive plus 20x plus 2. Then I look. My largest exponent is a 3, so I know this is cubic. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 terms polynomial. The last thing it may ask you is, what's the leading coefficient? Looking at the problem, what is the leading coefficient? Think of a line leader in elementary school. What is the leading? What, Tommy? -4. Because -4 is what it starts out. What if there was no number? What would you put? 1. It's very important, in order to find the leading coefficient, it must be in standard form. If it's in standard form, then you can find the leading coefficient. Your homework is just identifying and classifying. Deal? Okay, good luck.